My family plans to hijack my wedding for my sister's engagement. Mom insists it's her right, so I'm secretly canceling it. Maybe this is the wrong place, but I'm going to explode with rage and disappointment at my family. My baby sister is the golden child. Or maybe that's unfair to say. She survived cancer when she was a child. It was the darkest period of my parents' life. I don't remember much of it because my parents shielded me from the horrific truth. I knew she was sick, and I remember all my childhood spent in hospitals, but never did I know that my sister almost died until many, many years later. I was 12, and she was 10. After she beat her sickness, she became the obvious favorite in the house. She got everything she wanted, and sometimes it was at my expense. I resented that, but I always heard that I was a naughty girl for being jealous of my hero sister. My sister grew up to be a brat. Now, 20 years later, she's still bratty, although we get along a lot better than when we were teenagers or young adults. My wedding is in July. Neither my fiancé nor I have the money for a big wedding. We settled for a small wedding, 30 people, and my fiancé's grandparents, who have a beautiful house with a lake view. My parents, when they heard this, said, "No way," and offered to pay for a bigger wedding and better venue. We didn't agree at first, but later we did, not wanting to disappoint them. It seemed like it was important to them. Last week, my mom invited me over. My dad, mom, and my sister's boyfriend asked me what I would think if my sister's boyfriend proposed to my sister during the wedding, so it becomes an engagement party as well as a wedding. Mom has seen reels on Instagram about people proposing to maids of honor or bridesmaids and thought it was cute. My sister is my maid of honor. I said, "No, that's ridiculous," and laughed. My mom was livid. She told me I was selfish and ungrateful, and I accused her of favoritism. I told her, "I always thought it was odd that you'd pay for my wedding, but now I know the reason why." She started crying and kicked me out of the house. Later, both she and my future brother-in-law sent me texts warning me not to expose their plan to my sister. My fiancé was disappointed but not sure what we could do. My parents have spent almost $30,000, and it's too late to cancel. My mother called me today to plan the proposal, and I begged her not to ruin my day. She told me since she was paying, she can make requests and that I should let go of my jealousy and resentment towards my sister because she's innocent in all of this. But the thing is, this day will be about my sister. I told my fiancé to ask his grandparents if they're still willing to host my wedding. If they are, I'll revert to our original plan. If not, I will just elope. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to tell my family and cancel the wedding or just let them have their grand proposal party. None of my family is invited to my wedding, including my sister. Thank you for listening. I'm unsure whether to warn my sister or not. I can't tell her since she has no idea her boyfriend is going to propose, and this would ruin the whole thing. At the same time, it would be ruined anyway when I elope and she wonders why. But as of this morning, my mom still says they're going ahead with the proposal, even without my help. The original plan is that I should be the one making the speech and telling my sister there's a surprise for her, and today is about us too, blah blah blah. And then her girlfriends and boyfriend do some rehearsed dance to their favorite song, and then he proposes. If I know her well, she wouldn't mind being proposed to on my wedding day, so it's a lose-lose situation for me. Sometimes I think maybe I should agree and get it over with, but I'm so angry, and my fiancé actually doesn't want me to cave this time since we both were happy with the backyard wedding. We even asked Mom to donate what she had planned on spending on the wedding to the Childhood Cancer Fund in our names, like what we've requested as a wedding gift from our guests, but she insisted on a party for the extended family. I had a back-and-forth texting exchange with my future brother-in-law where he called me jealous and bitter. I have now blocked him. He texted my fiancé apologizing, but we didn't answer. My plan now is to get married a week earlier at my grandparents' in-laws with 20 guests because we have managed to change our honeymoon trip booking to be 3 instead of 2 weeks, with departure day the morning after the wedding. My mom's wedding is already paid in full with no refund possibilities given such short notice, only 3 weeks. That was the whole point, I think, to spring this information on me so close to the wedding date, so I couldn't really do anything about it. Now, they will have 1 week's notice anyway when they see my wedding pictures on social media. They will probably just turn the wedding into an engagement party and have a blast, so it's a win-win, I hope. I really want to thank everyone who showed me support. I'm now happily married and in Como, Italy, for my honeymoon. I tried to stay away from my phone, but I was so curious to see my family's reaction to my elopement a week earlier than planned. It was really ugly. I must start by saying that I really tried my best to negotiate and compromise with my family and truly explain that this was hurting me. I have nothing against my sister and nothing against her getting engaged at my wedding. But the principle that it was made very clear to me that I had absolutely no opinion or say in what was going to happen on what was supposed to be my special day was where I drew the line. It wasn't a wish or a request. It was a matter of fact, and it was decided. So, I told my mom that I'm not going to attend the party she's paid for. Maybe they should just make it an engagement party instead? She got very upset and told me that the engagement was supposed to be a surprise. I told her that I was just giving her the heads up since she was about to lose an insane amount of money. She didn't take me seriously, like I wasn't going to cancel my wedding because of a trivial thing. What she didn't know is that I had already made plans to get married a week earlier at my grandparents' in-laws. We invited our closest friends, and some even had to book earlier flights and take more vacation days. For these people, I was extra grateful. What was left was my sister. I'd been back and forth arguing and negotiating with my parents and future brother-in-law. I decided that even if this would ruin her surprise, I had to tell her. So I did. She wasn't really happy with my mom, but she was more upset that I ruined her surprise. And she, as I expected, thought I could have just sucked it up and gone with the flow. I didn't tell her about my new wedding date. The wedding was dreamlike. In the back of my head, I was hurt that the people who loved me the most weren't there, but I pushed that thought away and refused to let it ruin our day. My husband was amazing. He promised to make me happy for the rest of my life and to make up for every heartbreak I've experienced in my past. My in-laws surprised us by upgrading our honeymoon to a 5-star hotel. I had my friends and some cousins and my favorite aunt attending. We asked them not to live stream or upload any pictures to social media until we were already on our honeymoon. We also asked them not to engage in any altercations online with my family. Today, my mom made long Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram posts bashing me and my husband, calling me ungrateful and disrespectful, with pictures of my wedding. She's telling people I've cost her a big chunk of her savings, and she's now demanding compensation. Her Facebook post was shared about 200 times, and the majority of my extended family is angry with me. She never once tried to contact me. I really thought she would bombard my phone. Instead, both she and my dad announced that they're cutting me off and are expecting compensation. Future brother-in-law commented that I ruined his surprise, and my sister made a post about being tired of jealous bees and haters. None of the people we invited commented, even though some of them were directly attacked, so they respected our wishes. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and turn the wedding into an engagement party now. I really hope they do so the money isn't wasted. It's on Saturday. I'm sorry the update got too long, but with the amount of people asking for an update, I hope this was what you wanted. P.S. English isn't my native language, and it's too long of a post to proofread, especially when it's written on my iPhone. I can confirm that the wedding did end up being a party for my sister. Yes, they did, and they blew up the internet with pictures and posts about how magical the night was. Little sister made sure to write about haters not ruining her special day and how she's surrounded by the people that mattered. From what I gathered, about 30 to 40% of the guests that were invited showed up. This means they can't sue me for the wedding, so all is good. Now, to the next story. I overheard my husband say I'm ugly to his friends. Though I've always known I'm unattractive, hearing him confess it shattered me completely. I am an unattractive woman, objectively. I've always been this way, and while I have accustomed myself to it, it nonetheless remains a daily fact that being an ugly woman sucks. I met my husband 4 years ago, and he is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. He has always and frequently told me I'm beautiful and somehow sounded honest, without sounding like my mother, like someone without another option to answer. Last night, Saturday, he had a group of friends over to our home. They meet several times a month to hang out, catch up, and play games. He has known most of these guys since high school. I was upstairs in the kitchen preparing drinks and snacks when I was able to hear them in the basement and began to eavesdrop, which I know was rude, but it wasn't really intentional. I realized they were talking about me. A couple of guys were teasing my husband about me, specifically about my looks. I could tell it was supposed to be funny. It was not. There was a point where one of them referred to me as a troll, and my husband blew up. He started shouting, "Listen, shut up. I know that she is ugly, but shut up. She makes me happy." Does your bimbo of the week do that, John? Mike, how long has it been since we've hung out, and you haven't bitched about your wife? He went on for a while defending me, but all I could hear was, I know she's ugly. I know she's ugly. I know she's ugly, again and again in my head. It just broke me. I don't know why. I've always known I'm unattractive, but he isn't supposed to. He tells me I'm beautiful so sincerely and consistently. I'd started to actually believe he thought that. I started to cry and ran into the shower so no one could hear me. When I came out an hour later, everyone had gone home far earlier than normal. I went to bed and then haven't spoken to him all day today. But I think I've been able to avoid letting him know I'm upset or avoiding him. I know rationally that what he said, despite the word choice, was meant to be sweet, defending the fact that he loves me for who I am, not just my body, but it doesn't seem to matter. I just want to be pretty. God, I feel so shallow. I've been crying all day. What should I say to him? Part of me wants to call him a liar, to scream and yell and cry, while the other part just wants to run away and never have to talk to him again and acknowledge that even the greatest man I will ever meet can't find me attractive. I'd given up hope I'd ever have a partner who even liked me before I met him. I lost the lottery spectacularly at birth, and my life feels like a big joke, a cycle of humiliation and punishment I did nothing to deserve. I don't even know how to talk to him. This update turned out really long, sorry. First off, I'd just like to say thanks. Just wow. Over the last 2 days, I've had literally hundreds of messages and PMs. You guys rock. Seriously, look at that thread. That's got to have one of the best positivity and sweetness to meanness and jerks ratios on all of Reddit, like, ever. You guys knocked it out of the park for me. I'm still figuring out why. So yesterday, after getting a barrage of support from you guys on my phone every couple minutes nonstop all day, I decided to try and confront my husband over what I'd overheard after we were both home from work. I told him I needed to talk. I told him I'd overheard him and his friends, and he immediately started to apologize for them, saying they were jerks and that I should have told him I'd heard. I had to stop him to let me get a word in and tell him it wasn't his friends so much as it was what he said. When I told him what he said, his whole tone changed. I could tell he wasn't expecting to be blamed. I had the whole conversation planned out. I wanted to explain how it made me feel, how I thought he really was attracted to me, and how betrayed it made me feel to hear him say that behind my back. But I just started to cry and couldn't really communicate what I wanted to say very well. He was awesome, though, and just held me. And then, after a minute, he started to speak like he was reading right out of the nicest comments in the original thread, telling me he was just angry and didn't speak very well, that he really does find me attractive even if the world doesn't and his friends don't. I calmed down pretty quickly. I'd basically cried myself out the day before. He took me to his computer and showed me an email he sent to all of his friends on Sunday. I wish I could copy-paste it now, but he basically called all his friends out, said they'd crossed the line from good-natured trash talk to just being awful, and then continued, going far beyond. He said that for the indefinite future, they'd have to find another host. They are no longer welcome in my home. He actually said my name's Home. I thought that would make it sound like I was ordering him around, being a bitch, but he said he just wanted to emphasize how wrong what they were doing was. Seeing him stand up for me again made me happy, especially seeing him do it without talking bad about me, helping me believe it really was just a bad word choice made in the heat of the moment. He told me to wait in the room and left, coming back with a folder. He said he was going to give me this for Christmas, but that he'd get me something else. I tried to say no, but he insisted. It was plane tickets and brochures. He'd set up a trip in early January to a spa hotel resort thing in British Columbia. It was pretty mind-blowing, but I realized that it had to be several $1,000s he'd spent. We budget pretty thoroughly. He shouldn't have been able to spend that without me noticing. I asked where he got the money, and he said he'd been planning this for more than a year, saving all the money assigned to his weekly spending money and collecting change from groceries, etc., where I wouldn't notice. When I say that sometimes I'm not sure I deserve him, understand that I'm not having a crisis I need help dealing with. He's just really awesome. He's taking me out for dinner, so I have to go, but I'll be on again tonight. I still wish I was prettier, but I understand how lucky I am, how happy I should be, and how prettiness and happiness are not synonyms. Thank you, Reddit, for all the support. I owe you guys. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.